Hello, I'm Coach Lance Meyer at Grass Ministries, a partner ministry with the City for God. And we're back here for part two of our sunset painting. And you can see we have part one done. We've got some beautiful colors. We're kind of letting that dry just a little bit. So we're going to work actually a little bit on the foreground of the painting, which for me really is going to be most of this. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right in there, okay? So the foreground, in my case, is going to be yellow, okay? With a little bit of blue to make it green, right? So to start with, again, I'm just going to put that yellow down, and you have to decide whether this is going to be kind of a wet on wet, and then kind of covering that more. For some of those, the things that are closer to you are going to have a little more darkness to them. What I'm going to do just to start with here is put down a wash of yellow. You could do the foreground wet on dry. I'm going to do wet on wet again, and I do have a big brush, but regardless, whatever brush you have, you're going to take that, and I'm just going to kind of, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint around this, my main character. If I was a person, or if it was building, or whatever. For some of you, it's going to be a cactus. I'm going to kind of paint around that. Now, if you get in there a little bit, it'll be all right. But if you can paint around it, that'll help a little bit to define your painting a little bit. So I'm going to paint around my golf bag. That's kind of the feature of this particular painting, as well as the obviously sunset here. We are doing sunset paintings, right? So I'm going to just wet most of this area. I'm kind of leaving the mid-ground, and that's still a little wet anyway. But I'm kind of working right now just this white area. If there was some area, maybe if there was a sand trap or something, I might go around that. If there was a person over here, I might kind of go around that. But I'm going to just go ahead and get this all, not super, super wet, but I'm going to go ahead and get that wet. All right, then we're going to grab our brush again, biggest one we have. Again, we always work big first. And again, we work from yellow to red to blue. Now in this case, there's maybe not going to be quite as much red in there, but there may be a little bit. All right, we got our brush, quite a bit of water on it. I'm grabbing my yellow again. I've got some Hansa, but whatever yellow you have, I put that on my palette. Just kind of get some water. I just took a class this week, and they really stress the importance of doing that to allow that transparency to really work. I tend to just work right from the paint right to the paper, so that's maybe a little change I'll have to make here. Now, the nice thing with that is there'll be a little bit of red that maybe mixes into my yellow, which in this case is a good thing because we want to get that mostly yellow, but just have it off color a little bit. All right, so I like to kind of set up my painting a little bit as if I see those lines where these different, in this case the foreground, just kind of throwing this yellow in here, but I'm kind of working where this line kind of comes across here. There's a little line that runs across here, and so I'm kind of putting that in there. I know that's hard to see on the film, but all right, so I got my yellow here, and then I'm just going to kind of work that up. Maybe I will, just to get, I'll just maybe grab just a little more red or a little more of my palette just to darken that area up because it's a little darker. I'm just kind of grabbing what's left on my palette a little bit. Again, I'm working around my main feature here, which is I'm going to leave that just a little line in there just so I can kind of see that. I'll come back over that. This is a little darker in here, so we're just going to kind of work through that. And I am going to again grab, one thing I'm going to do actually is leave this area pretty light because that's the fairway. I might even just leave that white right now. I'm going to just do that. Come back to that, get these other areas in a little darker. Okay, now, once I kind of got that in there in yellow, I got my green. I'm going to bring that right there. I'm going to create a little green in here, as in the golfing green, because of course I got to do my golf greens. I'm going to leave this white. A little bit of colors over here is fine. And a little bit in there is okay. But I want to keep that a little lighter. And then back here is again going to be If I look at my picture, that's actually pretty light too. It's darker in through here. Just kind of putting those colors in there. Not worried too much, but just getting the colors in there, okay? Now I'm gonna come back with my blues. I, again, have some of this manganese, which will make a really nice green. You may not have that color in your palette, and you'll just use the blue that you have. I would say in this case, then you want to be more yellow and a little lighter on the blue end of things. And again, mix it, this time mix it on your palette. So you get kind of the greeny color that you want. Mix with that yellow. Again, I would probably go 2 to 1. If you have a darker blue, I probably would go 2 to 1 on yellow to blue, if that makes sense. Mix that up, get your green. Again, we don't just grab green from the palette because that is already going to be kind of chemically, we want to try to use our colors that are mixed. You'll just get a lot better results with that. So I'm going to find these areas that are kind of dark, these little hills. I'm just going to kind of throw that in there. I'm going to kind of run, but I can kind of start seeing my flow of the picture here a little bit. Working quickly at this point, and I'm especially going to work quickly so that you can follow along quickly here. Just putting that little line of emphasis right there, and kind of run that back over here. Okay, I can always come back and do more on that. I'm going to leave that as that, but just kind of setting a little definition there. We've got some nice greens, kind of, yeah, darkers kind of running in through here, which I'm just going to kind of grab that. Just kind of suggesting, working around my, I guess I'm going to keep that little light yet. I can always come back with the next coat on there. Okay, then I'm going to, again, grab my darker areas here. We got a dark coming as I showed over here. All I'm doing is looking at my picture. Okay, where are the little darker areas? Kind of those mid-tones. We put the light stuff in there. Now we're putting in the kind of middle ground stuff. Not the darks, but the mid. Okay, just kind of running that through there. Great. Yep, and this is, I can darken that just a little more. There we go, I got my hill coming through here. This is kind of one of the darker green areas, so I'll be a little generous there. And just kind of suggesting stuff through here yet. Okay, and then there's a little tree and stuff, a little shadow on the tree back here. I'm leaving this, let me look at my, I kind of created a green, so I'm just going to kind of run that behind the green a little bit, just like that, and then it kind of comes in through here. Okay, I don't want to get too carried with that. I'm still going to keep my fairway relatively light. Any other spots in there that are light? Okay, we're just going to leave that at that. All right, that takes care of our quick mid-tones, kind of the middle part of the picture. I'm sorry, the bottom, the close-up stuff. We're still going to have to come up with details on that, but we've got the base done. And you can start to see just a little bit of the picture come together. And once we add the mid-tones, you'll be starting to see it come together. So I'll show that. All right, we'll see you for part 3 shortly.